Alright, this is episode number 2 with some of the other Pinewood Derby cars that I've made. As you can see, um, they're a little more advanced than the previous ones. These weren't necessarily made to run really fast or anything like that. These were kind of made to look kind of cool and give the boys in Cub Scouts something that if they use their imagination they can do just about anything when it comes to Pinewood Derby cars instead of some of the other ones that I showed in the previous video. This one here was actually the second big rig truck I've done. Um, this was a more traditional out of the kit, except for I didn't use a trailer, and I kind of mocked up a roll cage on the back, trying to make this somewhat look like Pike's Peak Racer. It does have the 10 tractor trailer wheels, just like the actual tractor. It ran okay. It wasn't the best in the world. This one here is the Deathmobile. Those of you that are as old as me or have seen the movie Animal House will kind of recognize this. This thing, as you can kind of tell, it's got a piece of plastic on the bottom. I screwed in to kind of cover up the weight. And the actual turn on this is a paint can lid, rattle can lid. Now, that one kind of got a little out of whack. This was the Cub Master and Assistant Cub Master stealth project. The boys didn't know what we were doing because I had it covered up and showing my own age and my Assistant Cub Master at the time, his age. They didn't know what it was because even the parents, because I had it sitting on a table like this, covered up, and nobody had a clue as to what that was. Though I didn't think the Cub Scouts needed to see "Eat Me" written in script on the side of the cake. This one here also not really legal. This has an 8-ounce fishing weight melted and poured in there. This whole car weighs about 14 ounces. It almost weighs a full pound. It wasn't the fastest down there, but it had so much momentum as it almost went off the end of the track. This was the first full-bodied car I tried to make. Tried to make a Lincoln Continental. And for my first attempt, I don't think it turned out half bad. It does have Pine car wheels on it. It doesn't have standard BSA wheels on it. But it turned out pretty good. Most of this was cut out with a coping saw and a wood chisel to do the shaping on the hood and sides and the trunk and all that. Turned out pretty well. Like I said, these don't run real well. They're just made to look good. After doing the Lincoln, I decided I wanted to try to one-up myself and decided to do Batmobile from the original TV show. You can see it kind of got a little damage there on the back wing. But I think this one turned out pretty good for my really first real attempt at trying to make one that looks like a real car. The bat spinners on there are actually little thin pieces of aluminum I glued to the nail heads after I got them all cut out. Does have some window screen in there on the headlights to kind of make it look like real mesh. And this is a cut down wire nut. It's done on the top. Had some aluminum tubing laying around. Do the rocket launchers. And actually hand sculpted the parachutes on the back. This one actually turned out good. Most people will look at this and go, wow! Though I see a lot of errors. The old school Divco milk truck. I did that a couple years ago, trying to make one that actually did a little more than just run down the track. As you can see, it does have LED headlights and taillights. Those do work, though I don't have batteries in here right now. Take 4 screws out of the top, and there's the battery pigtail in there to put a 9-volt battery on it to run the lights. I also tried to run, you can see right back there behind the windshield, there's a little mini like spy camera that was connected up to a portable DVD player, and that you could actually see pictures, but the Wi-Fi didn't work real well where we were running it at the church, and so it kind of, you could never see the picture of it because I wanted it to run slow. There's no graphite on this so it would see the boys' cars take off in front of them, but I couldn't get the picture to work. This rat rod truck, this thing's made completely out of balsa wood, all scratch built out of strips and flat pieces. Turned out pretty well, looks pretty good. It's real light. It's a model car engine that's sitting in there. Looks pretty good. I mean, it ran, you know, had to put weights in the back of it. Wasn't the fastest thing in the world, but it looked good. What you see back here, this back part, let me take the trailer off here. This was my first big rig. I got a big rig kit. And decided to try to make a cab over. I didn't follow the kit instructions because, one, when I looked at it, it looked like it was a 6x6. So I fixed it, stretched it out. See the skull and crossbones on the back. I hand painted that on there. Fabricated with some tubing and a wooden dowel rod. Fabricated the stacks. Can't remember, this piece of the fuel tanks were a piece of steel pipe. I cut in half and then made up the ends for it to make it look like that there. This does have an automotive paint finish on it. It was wet sanded. Looks pretty good. I actually cut the chassis of this thing in 4 pieces. If you look, you can't really tell. It does look like it's stretched out, but I cut it up here, here, in between the wheels, and took a pretty good sized chunk between the wheels, smashed them together, and then made a longer piece of some 1/4 inch stuff, pine that I had, to make it kind of look more like a truck. And let me move some of these out of the way here, and you can see, if I move this one here, here's your standard wheelbase looking truck for the big rigs. And you can see I stretched it by a full inch, a little over an inch, inch and a half, to get that kind of my truck view of it. And it does run. I did put some washers in between the rear wheels to make them look separated, and made up the 5th wheel hitch on it. The trailer here, now granted I've got this taped on here, these patches. Mid-America, that was the one in Omaha. This trailer is completely scratch built. It's not out of the kit. The only piece from the kit is the actual block down here where the wheels go in. This was made with styrene C-channels and some basswood, balsa wood strips. Bore the supports under here, both with the 5th wheel hitch, and to glue everything up, I bought some 1/8 inch wide balsa wood strips. These are actually C-channels, and cut them the length and put them in here, and stained and put some polyurethane on it to make it look like some of the big rig flatbed trailers that actually have the wood planks on.